got this feeling.
Welcome, everyone. Today is a special Friday. We're going to be at the Mustard Seed here in Staten Island, 572 Forest Avenue, with a talk with one of our awesome friends, the one and only Spencer Ellis. He's an attendance teacher, a collector, and a father of two. Anything that you want to change in the field you study?
I feel like kids and teens, well, kids need to actually accomplish more on their own and not be told they're doing a good job. They actually need to learn the craft or the activity they're doing and be able to, it's okay to foster them along while they're doing it, but they actually have to be able to produce it. I feel there are too many participation medals and trophies going out, and there's not enough like, hey, you came out on top. And I think if they don't have something to shoot, if they think, hey, well, I'm just doing it because I get a medal, they don't put forth their best effort.
Yeah.
And that I think one of the strongest traits of, I guess, maturation of an adult is what they learned about self-reliance as a kid. So taking knocks, sometimes you lose, but you got to lose a lot to win a little bit. I learned. So so it's because if kids are always so used to, hey, we did a great job, you won, and then they're not used to putting forth their best. They're just used to, well, I just have to put forth the minimal effort, and
the accuracy.
Yeah, and and then it's just to be actively participating in something, not like, hey, we're going to participate in something, but we actually have a goal to accomplish something. Like there's got to be a second level to it. I think a lot of kids are just too reliant on their parents. And looking stuff up on their phones rather than taking, and don't want to have a mistake or any kind of blemish on their record. Everything has to be perfect. Or can I redo that, and can we eliminate it? So I feel like there's a lot of, like Hemingway said, I use my erasers more than I use my pencils. I feel like you got to revise a lot more than the perfect draft coming. I think there's got to be it has to be messy. Everybody wants everything neat, and I've achieved this, and this, and it usually falls apart because when they get to the higher level, say high school, college, graduate school, or the workplace, they realize that they don't have somebody there patting them on the back saying, "Oh, great job," and they're shocked, and it's hard for them to rebound. And I think that they should have they're not tough. They need to get tougher, so they can take some taps on the chin and then say, you know what? That didn't work out, but I learned something from it, and I'm going to use that to move forward. Because I always say this, in 1998, I ran a lot of marathons. In '98, I ran the East Line Marathon, and my goal was to break 3 hours, but I ended up doing over 3.5, and I got heat exhaustion because it was a lot hillier than I had remembered it, and it hit me harder. But when I was finishing up, I was sitting in the shower, and I said, you know what? This is probably going to be a medal I'm going to remember because I know now what not to do and how to train harder for the next time. So this is actually probably my better marathon than say a one I had done, and I was like, hey, I hit every note and it was perfect. People are afraid to fall because they don't know how to pick themselves up by themselves. And I think that's something that's missing today. Actually, we're letting it dissipate. Because nobody wants to be let off. No, everybody has to be let off the hook. You can't just sit there with like a failure or a loss, somebody in the loss column, and you have to be able to do that and to be able to accept it.
Yeah, that's so true. What can be some of the ways that we could help or improve that, just in general?
I think sometimes we modify too much the activity, so everybody can do it and everybody can try it. But then we realize, all right, what can we do when it doesn't work out? What can we do to make this work? What can you do to approach it differently? What prerequisite skill set do you think we would need to do? Or do you think we set you up to fail? Most of the time you say, well, no one can do that. It's impossible. No, it can be done. It has been done. And you prove it. You show them. You tell them, you show them a video of, another group doing it, or you explain it. So I feel like, let them figure it out on their own. No phones. And just let them figure it out. Let them do it on their own.
Let them brainstorm, come up with ideas. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That's you challenge me with that because I think I'm more like everybody's awesome.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that as long as it's at the appropriate time. Like when
Yes.
you're finished and it's all done and everybody is all muddy from the race and everybody's finished and like, wow, that third mile was pretty hard, but then you know what? I figured out how to negotiate that trail, and then I picked it up and I figured out how to drink water along the way on the race so like I could keep going. And you know what? We all finished different times, but you know what? It's awesome that we all tried it and we got through it and we learned from it and we succeeded and we actually learned from it for the next time we do it. We're not going to make the same mistakes. It's okay to make mistakes. Don't make the same ones twice.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm with you. Or don't repeat the same thing. I did a half marathon.
Oh, very good.
Not a full marathon like you. How many marathons have you done?
I did 94.
You've done 94?
I did 27 marathons. I think whatever the math is, all the rest were ultras up to 100 miles I did. But I haven't done one in about 3 years because I'm done with it. I just run every day, but I don't want to race anymore. I don't want to, mostly because I get left behind. But I could lose for free. But
every day, wow.
yeah, but you know what? I took 3 bad falls last year while I was running. That's because I wasn't paying attention and I got cut. I got hurt, but I didn't miss a day. I was like, all right, I'm going to get up, and I had actually keep a little first aid kit on me. I just cleaned myself up. I was like, all right, what did I do? I wasn't paying attention, and my foot got caught in an imperfection in the sidewalk, and I fell. And then my wife said, if you fall one more time, you have to go to the doctor because it might be mental. So I was like, I don't think so. But I look back on it, and I'm like, all right, now I'm much more cognizant of like the terrain I'm on, and just but the half marathon is very challenging as well because like every race you have has a different mindset. I always found the marathon to be the most difficult to master because running I figure out the formula with this ultra run I was with. We figure it's time, it's distance and discomfort management versus the clock. So you have to figure out how to like deal with your pain or anything that's going on during the race with the time, with the actual distance you're running and the clock to meet what time you have. And if you can master all 3 of those together, then you can get to the point of like, I guess, nirvana of running where you can actually like accomplish your goal.
Yeah.
So
94?
Wow.
That's impressive.
that's why I'm so broken.
And
I didn't realize there was that many
you
either.
say you do it every day. So like one of the questions like we ask youth developers is like there's usually something, there's like a habit or a routine that you gotta do every single day. So is it running for you?
I get up at 3:30. I meet my friend at 4:05, do a workout before I meet him at 4:05. We run till about 6:45, then go back and get ready for work and go.
I love it.
Wow, what time do you go to bed?
10:30, 11.
Wow.
I'll say it's like Ben Franklin had this great saying. It's like, up now sluggards and waste not life. They'll be sleeping enough time in the grave. So I figure I'll just catch up after.
Yeah.
I'll sleep in a little longer.
3:30. Wow.
Judgment Day will come the day after that I die, so I won't even get the rest.
He thinks I'm crazy that I get up at 5:30, but I'm like, no, 3. Wow.
I have an understanding wife because the alarm goes off, but she's so acclimated to it. But my running partner, I have the best running partner in the world. He did an Ironman and 3 marathons, and he's strong. He's a weightlifter, a swimmer, and a runner. But his saying is, "There's no finish lines." So
That's great. I think that has good parallels too to like what you were saying about the youth. Like like in school we get penalized a lot for like making mistakes.
Yeah.
But life is all about like making as many mistakes as possible, so you can learn and you can gain experience.
Yeah.
So I like that. It's good stuff.
Well, I think also because social media, because you have Facebook, which only went on like 3 years ago. My wife actually just deactivated hers for Lent and never reactivated it. So I was thinking about doing that. But I think because everything is posted now, everybody is inclined to make life look perfect. So you look at everything and like, oh, look at my awesome vacation, look at my awesome car, look at this, my awesome thing. Oh yeah, we just made this, like people put food up, drives me crazy. Oh, look at this awesome meal I'm gonna have. And nothing can shatter the image of perfection. So like they're afraid now that carries over to life. Like, oh, I don't want to do that because I'm not that good at it. Or, you know what, that's not my thing. Well, you know what, try it out. Maybe you'll find out you like it.
Yeah.
You don't have to do it if you do it the first time. If you don't like it, you don't have to. If you find out maybe, hey, maybe it's not a fluke, I'll do it again. You maybe just found another dimension to yourself and you try. I think people are afraid to try things because they don't want the story. The story has to remain on a straightforward narrative of success.
Mine is not like that. So tell us about your story. How did you get to where you're at? Like,
Well, I was a classroom teacher in junior high, elementary and junior high. Then I got an attendance teacher's license, and I transferred to attendance, where I work with kids who aren't in school, and I go to their houses. I connect them with social services. I used to spend a lot of time in family court, the family assessment program, and just counseling like families, and working with them to keep the kids in school. And then I turned out I liked it. And actually won Teacher of the Year in 05, 06.
Nice.
Yeah.
What did you used to teach?
I was a junior high English teacher. English reading,
Yeah, I started as English teacher.
Yeah.
As the math teacher would say, oh, if you can't do, you teach English. So it's like, he was like, there's no facts, you make it up. It's all it's all interpretation. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Transition a little bit so people get to know you. So, what have been some of your mentors growing up?
Indiana Jones.
Yeah,
Superman. I do. Superman. Christopher Reeve. The Christopher Reeve Superman.
Mm-hmm.
Rick Deckard, and then maybe Han Solo.
Cool.
But that's just joking around. But like, I guess people I looked up to were the guy who trained me on my job, Tom Fitzpatrick. He had 43 years in when he retired. But when I went in about 6 years before he retired, and he took me under his wing, and he was there when my oldest son was born. He went to the hospital after that, and we just like hit it off, and he would just we'd go make home visits together, and work on cases, and we had a good rapport. So I kind of like I always quote him, because I'm like, the best attendance teacher ever to walk the streets of New York City, Tom Fitzpatrick. He would do this and do that, and he's kind of like, I used to call him like the Yoda or the Kenobi of attendance. Ben Kenobi would actually probably be. I find at this age there's only like 5 characters I can relate to. Ben Kenobi, Merlin from Excalibur,
Nice.
Jor-El, Dumbledore, and Gandalf. Those are like the only 5, but they're the older mentor type. So I feel like that's how I've like.
They're like on their way out, like.
They're not the Golden Corral phase, but they're not the early bird special yet.
About to become one of the Force.
One of them about to become one of the Force. Like, I'm not ready to turn the lightsaber off yet.
Yeah. What about your social support? I know you have, I guess, your friend that you run with, but anyone else around like your social support?
Well, that'd be my wife, who's the brains of our operation,
Nice.
and who I thank God every day said yes to a second date. I got the second date on the first date. I made sure I had it nailed down.
Nice.
I
Proactive, this guy.
didn't want to give her time to go home and think. I was like, so we were on. It was a Wednesday. I was like, so what are you doing Friday?
Yes.
Seal the deal, my man. That's good.
I brought that up at our pre-K now. She's like, don't tell them that. I was like, oh, you said yes to a second date? That would have been the first time in a long time. So, yeah, my wife definitely, my kids, because I spend a lot of time with them, and I like watching how they develop. And they have the same interests as me. They have their own interests, which I've taken an interest in, just watching, not as much participating, but just like supporting. Like, I do a lot of driving around, and I read a lot of
Sounds like
books. I'm rereading the Harry Potter books now,
Oh, cool.
because we're going to Universal in August,
Sweet.
and we were coming back from Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
Talking about how great it was, I was like, I'm going to starting tonight. I'm rereading the Harry Potter books, so I got to rediscover the magic. So I went there, and now I'm on the 3rd one.
Nice.
I love them.
So you're a reader.
Yeah, I read a lot. You know what? Like, I would say probably a big mentor, big influence for me, probably would have been Mr. Spock from Star Trek, because I always found like he would, because he has my, I found in him like he just stops. Everybody's getting emotional. He thinks about it, and obviously it's Vulcan logic, but he says, here's how we have to deal with it. Here's the logic of the problem. So I always say, take practical, logical, and common sense and put it together, and you'll come up with an answer. But you got to like,
Love that formula.
yeah, but you got to like hang back a little. Like, everybody wants to rush and jump. But we got to band-aid this. We got to fix it. It's like, let's hold on. That's what helped me in long distance running, was like, sprinters like to get to the end and finish. Runners just like to be, long distance runners like to be out there and run, and they're not worried about like, I got to finish and get my medal and put it on my. It's just like, we're out here, let's just enjoy it. So it's like a long-term process. It's not, you
Yeah,
can't
it's a
not a
journey.
It is.
So this is the question a lot of people get stuck, but please shed some light on this community. So how often do you play? And play as in whatever you do for fun?
Every single day, because my running is my time that I play, and then I also collect comic books and vintage toys and I read every day. So like I definitely, and I have my own half of the basement. It's locked and sealed off. It has all my stuff in it.
So how do you reward your accomplishments?
Well, actually, you know what? I'll say this. I don't really reward my accomplishments because I feel like in my house, we're always doing, like, it's all about the kids and the family. So we're always doing, like, all right, they're taking them somewhere, we're doing something. My wife works an insane amount of hours. I work not as many hours as she does. But we just, like, if I want something, I just get it. So I don't feel like we have to have an accomplishment to reward. It's like, you know what? I want that life-size Darth Vader. and then I remember when it came and had Miles in the car, I was like, I think you've been replaced because he'll only say what I tell him to say, and he just stands there, and that's it. So he's like, oh, real good, Dad. I was like, no, but we were just kidding around.
Yeah.
But then I thought about it, and I was like, no,
Your kids are the best. I was making my niece try and say to me, like what you make your kids say. How does the whole thing go again? Do they still do like
Lord, Father, King and Ruler of all that crawls, flies, swims, breathes, and they don't do that as much anymore since he hit high school.
Yeah. Well, my niece, she's still like 4. So she like loves to say it.
Because I remember the time when Miles, he must have been about 4 or 5, and I was laying in bed with him, and we always used to read Goodnight Moon, Kitten's First Full Moon, and the Where the Wild Things Are, and some other books. So then I'm going to bed, and he says, Dad, what do you do for a living again? I was like, I'm a mild-mannered reporter for the Daily Planet. He's like, no, aren't you a teacher? I was like, no, I work for the Daily Planet, and I fight crime. He's like, no, you're an attendance teacher. I was like, oh, yeah, all right, so the gig's up, so you know now. It's like,
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
What's your life philosophy? What would you say your life philosophy would be?
Just be nice to each other, be civil, treat everybody nicely, do your job, help out. Don't try and climb on top of each other to be the number one. We don't need to put each other down. We don't need to eliminate LGBT. We don't need Q. We don't need to eliminate minorities. We don't need to threaten a wall to, put fear. We don't need to empower people to, make other people feel awful. Like, let's just all work together, because I know when I'm in front of God and I have to explain what I did, there's going to be a lot of, I know, I didn't think I was going to work out, but I know that at least in that respect, I'll always be able to justify everything I did and explain it like this is why I did it, and I thought this was going to help someone or that, where I think a lot of people now are going to be at a loss for words, like, so I think that's, especially now, like, try and I always hold myself, my boys always held the door open and, very respectful, but just like be a little more. And you know what, if somebody cuts you off or somebody, you feel like you've been pushed aside, let it go, it's not worth it. Just let it go, it's not worth it. It's not worth getting into a fight over, it's not worth getting upset over, it's just go about your life and
Don't
do your
sweat
thing.
the small stuff. Right?
Well, not even that, just like, because I think it's all major, because then they're having a bad day. So I just like, I'm just kind of hang back and be laid back about it. And then just try and be nice to people and supportive, and don't denounce anybody, and don't, you don't need to knock someone down to feel better about yourself. Just try and be nice.
Yeah.
That wraps up an interview at 572 Forest Avenue, our Mustard Seed Cafe spot, and I let Jimmy finish off of what we gathered from Spencer Ellis.
I always felt like you were very like humble, and you kind of like didn't take yourself like too seriously. Some people like a lot of people who would work, who could produce as good as you could, would be like, I'm a rock star, you need to take care of me first, like, me. But you're more all about the team, you're all more about like, just like, let's solve this.
Nice. Well, like the second smartest guy I ever met said, take your job seriously, don't take yourself seriously, because once you take yourself seriously, it's not about the job or what you do, now it just becomes about you, and like, what's the point of that? So.
It's just focus on keeping
Can we look at each other the way? Can we look at each other the way we used to look at each other at work?
Yes, please. I gotta get that.